Hey everybody, this is Dark Guards, and we're back with another video. Now first off, I want to really quickly just check to see if the audio levels sound good. So if you guys could do in the comment and just kind of give some feedback on that to say if the audio sounds good, if it's too quiet, too loud. I did actually take some time to adjust the music levels, but it really is kind of hard to tell because if I run this locally, it'll sound perfectly fine. Even if I upload it, it'll sound okay, but for each of your systems, each type of device you're running on, it may sound a little differently. Anyways, we're going to go ahead and get back into doing our little, I don't even want to call it a let's play, but like extended demo or kind of tutorial would be a way to call it. We're just going to call it gameplay would be an easy way to call it. I think it's what the last video uploaded was. So I did actually go ahead and fix a lot of issues with the assembly line. I went through and did that. There's a video up that kind of talks about it. But we do have some improvements to the handling and various other things. And things are working really, really well. So one of the improvements that I did actually make here, which we're going to go ahead and show off, is I was talking about how I wanted to be able to insert the belts and have the inserters actually grab stuff off the belts directly. So this is now a thing. So long as you remove the tube casing, it'll work. That's kind of how it's programmed. So go ahead and get this other one here. And we'll remove the tube casing off it as well. This should now work. Let's go ahead and remove half of that. And there you go, you see it actually does work. This works from both directions as well, so this will actually be able to pull off and put back on a belt as well, so this saves us quite a bit of trouble when it comes to doing the setup here, because now we can do that. The only downside is, of course, you're going to have a problem with input feed if you don't get enough speed going through these. I kind of do plan to sort of do upgrades for the belts in the future, but there's a lot of work that needs to be done beforehand. One, I want to get some animation going on these. Two, I need to really, really badly upgrade the model system we're using. So right now, all these models are manually made in code, which is a pain. Here a couple months ago, I did actually build a cube model system for ICBM in order to do the silo doors. So we have that system now in place, and that system does actually do some rotation. I think it's got limited rotation ability. If it doesn't have any, I'm just going to program it so you get the concept. But that should, in theory, make this much easier to work with, because then you're using text files, or JSON files more specifically, to make the models, and you can make the models in something like Blockbench is the plan, and be able to import them in and actually do that, which would save me huge amounts of time, because these models are really tedious to make. This model, for example, here I think has like 50 pieces of it. And I did that all by hand. I regret nothing though, these are beautiful models. So this is running, we're getting some output here. It looks like it's just shoving it directly in there, and we've got the rail system. So I did fix that crash. That crash turned out just to be some legacy code failing. The pipe belts here are built on the new node system. These are actually built on the old tile system. These will eventually be phased out to the node system when I get time to work on it. Right now I'm just focusing on bug fixes at the moment, so we're not going to do a huge amount of work. But the bugs have been fixed, so it is running. So let's go ahead and continue what we're doing. So we've got our basic setup here, and I just completely forgot that we have environment. I need to remove this. Next video I will probably remove this. So let's go ahead and get working on the next area. So we want to pull our yellow cake from this facility, and we want to bring it to the next processing facility. Now theoretically, this processing facility could be anywhere. It doesn't have to be the short distance. I'm just using this as an example. So we would have we need an orientation route. So we're going to go this way, we're going to come this way. So we're going to want to make sure we build a little bit of layout for a track. I think there is support for minecarts as well. I'll have to check this here later, so you don't have to use this rail system. I'm just using it because it's from the mod and it looks kind of nice. So go ahead and build this out. Orientation rail to make sure it rotates. I do not have plans of doing curved belts for this, because this is meant to be a monorail system is what this is meant to be. So you gotta imagine what is actually happening here is this is moving here and it's physically being rotated that way. The track's aligned so it can go forward again. It was actually a design choice to do this, because I could have easily made it do a curve. And then we go back that way and then come back here, because we're gonna want to cycle our carts back. That way we're taking advantage and using our carts. So let's go ahead and do this, and then we're going to need to grab an unloading rail. I think the recipes, the recipe for this is pretty much a loading rail, and that's what the recipe looks like. It's got support for IC2 and Mechanism thanks to the recipe system that's in place. Those are JSON-based recipes if I'm not mistaken, so much easier to use than what I was using previously. This is not 112, by the way, so you can see it. Well, you actually can't see this in the top corner because I've got it set to render only the Minecraft. But this is 1710, so 1710 did not have any JSON systems available for people to use. We've got the unloading rail here, so we're going to get this unloaded. It looks like we're in a little bit of a sketchy spot here. We'll see how far I can go. I'm surprised these areas haven't collapsed. Let me... Goodbye. Let's go up here and just collapse these so they're out of the way. I actually gotta admit, Environmind's kind of cool. It's a pity that it isn't really developed anymore. Although it's really, really buggy in my opinion. I've had like areas collapse on me. The only reason I'm even using it at this point is I had a client who wanted Environmind support. He wanted the heat stuff. He didn't even use the physics stuff for his mod pack. He just did like the thermal stuff, which I actually can provide with one of my mods now, which is kind of nice. Another cool thing that I did do while working on bug fixes is the screwdriver. We actually have a screwdriver from Volt's engine now. So this is the original screwdriver that's been in the mod. It's now going to be called a multi-tool. And it does the same exact thing that the Atomic Science was. If I hold Shift Control, I can change this guy's mode, and I can do the same thing over here. This will act as pretty much the same type of tool, so if you do have the mods installed with each other, you can forego needing to build the Atomic Science one and use this one. Well, once I get the API implemented. Right now I do need both tools. The reason for having this is though is I can now control the input and outputs for these belts over here. So I will be having a splitter belt eventually that will be coming in the future to actually allow working with kind of handling inputs, and hopefully will allow fixing this right here where we have input supply problems, and you'd be able to do a splitter and make sure that both sides evenly get 50% of the material, and of course you can stack splitters and then do like 30% and so on. Because if you have, I think if you have 2 split, yeah, it works out. The math is there. So we want to go ahead and start loading a cart and get this started to run. I need to work on this open cart thing, so I think this open cart is meant to be a single slot one, which will work perfectly here because we don't want to be waiting for the chest cart to load. The chest cart is just too much volume. We'll be waiting a while for this to actually run. Assuming this is actually programmed to work. There may be something I overlooked with this, that I've never updated the code for the inserters. The inserters did work at one point in time for this. Let's go ahead and get rid of this. And grab this, and what we're going to do is we're just going to directly feed off of the rail system here, which means we do have to move these. And that'll add that to my list of other bugs and stuff to fix. Really good doing these videos here. I can get a chance to see what I've messed up and missed. Go ahead and do that. And go ahead and do this. And then we can fix that rail, fix that rail. And theoretically, this should actually load. It just will take its sweet old time to load. Yeah, there we go. And we don't really have enough yellow right to be loading this fully. I'm trying to decide if there's a way to make this force system move. I think there's a redstone pulse system, if I remember, implementing this code. It doesn't connect to redstone, so this might not actually work. Nope. Must be on the to-do list as well. Really unfortunate. So we'll have to figure out some way to get this to run, but theoretically you would get this, it would load up, and then you could push it along. What if I can actually push this off the rail? Oh, I can push it in the air though. Another bug that has to be fixed. So this would come back around and would actually like allow dropping the material off. So let's put a chest on the other side of this. I actually would have put a cache, so let's get another cache. Take advantage of our thermal expansion friends here. That'll give our cache, that'll do our yellow right. Now the next step we want to do is we want to put this through a boiler. I think that's a really overly complicated way of doing this, but gives us a chance to test all the machines and build something that has aesthetic visuals to it. And I forgot we were playing around with wool for our visuals here. So let's make this green. And hope the ground doesn't collapse. I don't know if wool has like really special properties. I know Environmind does a lot of like physics updates and stuff. Yeah, that was what I was worried about right there. Let's get some cobblestone, and yeah, that's gonna go all the way down there, but what we can do is come up with this and fix the physics problem by just making a nice sturdy support beam, and that should prevent it from collapsing on us again. And we'll go ahead and replace this with wool. Get nice visuals here. This is one of the reasons I actually made the military base decor mod, is I wanted to actually build blocks like this, although I never got around to actually implementing a lot of the stuff I wanted to do. Some of the things I wanted to do was like hazard symbols and stuff, that way you could build really aesthetic pleasing areas and actually make them work. So we're going to need an inserter, so we want this inserter to grab items from here and pull out to here. And let's go ahead and get some yellow right here. The yellow, okay, here we go. And let's go ahead and insert it in here, that way we can get this running. And shift click to lock that so it doesn't change what's in there. And we want this to output to a set of conveyors. So that way we can get stuff going. And I'm going to build in this direction, that way we're not hanging over this and they won't collapse on us randomly. Because environment will make your machines collapse too. It's a really interesting mod. I would love to make something like it someday. So we do need conveyor belts. And let's do... Actually, I wonder if I have the in-cap program. This is a new block that was added, and it's not programmed and it crashed. Well, the good thing about this actually crashing is that, one, I can flip back to the main menu, and then two, I can go ahead and get rid of environment out of here. Let's actually go ahead and pull a few mods out of this list. So I don't need the gun mods, I don't need the loot box mod I was testing, I don't need environment. Come closer. I don't need apple core. I'll keep gas can in there because I do like my gas cans. And we're just going to toss these up here, that way I can find them again when I need to test, because we are working in my test environment that I use to actually test all the mods and make sure they're running. And the cool thing about this test environment is that both of these 1.7.10 versions use the same mods folder, and they're tethered to a server folder as well. So whatever mods I throw in one folder are shared across all three folders. And I don't need to go through and make sure all the mods match, and the same thing with the configs. I don't need to make sure the configs match, and I can test to make sure servers are running, and I've got like thermal, thermos servers, cauldron servers, everything else locally, so I can actually make sure everything's running. We'll go ahead and let this run. This actually does load pretty quick, which makes me so happy, because my test environment, which is over here, takes about, on average, 8 minutes to load, which is a pain when I'm testing mods. We'll go ahead and flip back to the MCU here. Transition to the black screen. There it goes. Obviously, it takes a sweet old time to remember so many things. Let's hope that it didn't actually place a block in the wall, because if it did, then I'm going to have to go fix another bug. We didn't make it very far into this one. Yeah. Guess I gotta go fix another bug. Okay, so we're back here after a short interruption. It's technically actually the next day, so we had a few of those crashes. I went ahead and fixed them, ended up doing a ton of other things, but we're back, and I kind of apologize for trying to use content ahead of its actual implementation. So I'd forgotten that I actually never ended up finishing these in-cap systems. These are kind of what they are. You can tell that they actually are not done, as they do need a bit more work. They are currently in the process of missing a few different things, so they need a little bit more text work, so we got a little bit of thing right there. They need a finished model. As you can tell, they don't match the tubes over there. And there's a little bit more logic needs to be done with them, because these are meant to be used kind of like hoppers, is what they're meant to be used. So you stick them on top of a machine, say there's a machine, and you stick it on top of that, and you have this point that comes into it, and there will be a hopper right there in the middle that would then drop down the machine. That way you got a nice clean implementation for your automated factories that looked really nice and everything else. But we're going to go back to doing what we're doing and go ahead and finish this off. Let me go ahead and clean up this little mess, because we're going to go ahead and build in this direction, which means we need to remove some trees here and get the boilers actually set up. So let's go ahead and clear these out, so by the time we're done placing blocks, these should have decayed away by now then. Go ahead and remove the vines just to increase the speed of decay. I don't know if that actually does help or not, but I like to believe it does. So let's get this in cap in here. So this is going to be our, well, let's actually not use the in cap. Let's go back to using this here. And the reason I want to use this is because this gives me a little bit better control, and it looks a little nicer too. Although we have to remove the top to actually get the items in here. So get the item in there, and that'll give us a starting point. And we're just going to, I want to bring stuff over this way a little bit. And that way we can get away from this little cliff edge here. Although I don't have to worry about environment anymore. It just kind of feels a little nicer to work within the limitations of what you have, rather than terraform the entire area to fit what you need. Okay, so we want a elbow here. I am looking into adding some code to make sure you can flip the elbows back and forth, because it is a little bit tedious. The current plan is to do exactly what I do with the tool, where you can hold down shift control and switch it around. I'm going to do the same thing for a lot of the belts. That way, if the belt is the same value-wise, so the conveyor tube and the two elbows are the same exact value, so being able to flip between those in your hand would be a user feature that would be really nice, rather than worrying about making sure things fit within a logical manner. So let's go ahead, and this will be our input point. And we're not going to worry about looping everything, we're just going to process things as they come in. So we'll go ahead and remove the top off this. I need to add wrench support to this, so that way I don't have to go into each one of these and remove the top. I might look into that, because it would be real easy to do... Because we plan to implement rotator support for this. So one of the tools... And this is the atomic science one, so let's actually toss this in my inventory so I don't get confused with this one. Where is the volts engine one? So the volts engine one plans to do rotating support. So we have a rotator here, which would be a little hammer. So this is going to be used to rotate things with. So instead of using the base one right here to rotate with, because this will actually rotate, I think what I'll do is I'll make this one actually change the top of it. So where you can right click to change the top and maybe shift right click to do something else. We'll figure out how we're going to do this. We'll go ahead and put the boilers down. And we're going to need a certain amount of these if we want to get reliable input. So we've got 2 out here producing yellow. Yeah, we'll just do 2 over here as well. It should work. I'm trying to make sure I'm making this aesthetically pleasing at the same time while I'm making it functional. Okay, so this will be our influx in. And we'll get these upgraded really quick. I'm not going to upgrade these as much the other ones did. So we'll do 1, 2... Oh, wow. Let me actually do that. I forgot to change that. This is really meant for debug mode, so I don't think it even saves the redstone level. There we go. So it'll go a little faster. And put the items in there. Really am thinking about making the arm go back by a couple of degrees, just so it has a little bit nicer visual for it. Because the items are a little too low on the ground. So you notice where it comes in and picks it up. It picks it up below the belt height. And that's really just kind of how the render works on the for the items is kind of just incidental. It's actually not meant to look the way it does. It just kind of ended up that way, so I went ahead and just worked with it, because there's no point in trying to change a whole bunch of logic if there's no real need for it. But anyways, we got the boilers here, so these are going to need water. So let's go ahead and come over here, and we're going to still the pipes we're using. So this is our water input. This is the tank we are using. And we're just going to do the same exact process we did over there. So we're going to keep it consistent, that way we have like a template to work with, although I don't really want to call it a template, but it would give the concept of a template. And then we're going to need the configurator, because I haven't added mechanism support yet to the universal wrench. And I think we just shift click. Yep, there we go. Trying to remember how to use all the tools is a bit tedious. So that should give us our water input. So go ahead and do that, and then that way we can get ready for the next part. So just put a whole bunch of water in this. That should split. Oh yeah, we need to actually configure the bottom to output. There we go. I do kind of like how the mechanism pipes do this. It is kind of nice. Very simple, but makes the concept work. So these will run. At the moment they don't need power. Of course, when the final setup for this, you would need power for not only this, but the robotic arms. The belts are never going to need power because it's just, it's tedious. I think if we do speed upgrades though, we might do power. So like if you do a speed upgrade, then at that point you need to power at least one belt in the whole chain, and then they'll auto-link to each other. Like a belt driver or something we'll do. So I guess this is our water, then we need to get the contaminated mineral solution. I think we get contaminated mineral solution out of this as well. Let me go ahead and check this. Contaminated mineral sludge is what we get out of this one. And this is contaminated mineral solution. I think there's 2 different things. So I think this is a heavier material than the other one if I recall programming this. It's pretty sad I don't even remember what I did with my own stuff. It happens though. Get a pipe here. And let's go ahead and dig underground again like we did with the last one and bring it off to the side. That way we can keep it separated until we do the next part of the process. Because what I kind of want to do, I don't really have a fluid cart for this. I really wish I did program a fluid cart for the rail system, because what we could do is drag the contaminated mineral solution off to another facility. We're just going to pipe it though, because I don't have code for this at the moment. And then we're going to program this to extract. This. And then we're going to need to change the color with Shift, and then tell it to output. There we go. And then we'll bring it off to the side. And I'm going to bring this one a little higher. Is that one? Yeah, that one's like 4 level. We'll bring it higher just so I don't have to work with it. I need a tank. I think we'll just grab this one. I think it should work. Yep, there we go. A lot of contaminated mineral solution. So there's the 2 of them. Yeah, you can tell the colors of the bitters. So this is mineral solution, this is sludge. The difference is that the sludge contains a lot more material than the solution does. So you can get a lot more stuff out of it. I may have to look up a recipe between episodes when we go to do this next step. So that gets that run, and then what our output's going to be is toxic material. So really what we're looking for is uranium hexafluoride. That's our desired output. This is actually a side effect of just doing the recipe. So we're going to need another pipe connection to do this, which makes this a little interesting. Because we need to be able to pull material off of these boilers. We need to be able to bring water in, pull the sludge out, and then output the fluid. And I think I've designed my setup wrong to do this, but we're just going to roll with it because there's no point in trying to redo everything. We'll just fix what mistakes we have and make them into something. So I think what we can do is do this, and then can I actually wrench these? No, Mecha doesn't detect my wrench. That's unfortunate. I'll have to fix that, and we're just going to do that because then that would disconnect the pipe. And I'm going to really have to figure out how he actually does this little thing here where you can hover over that part, because that is really cool. Does that work on the bottom part too? Yeah, it does. That's sweet. I know a few mods actually do that, and it's probably really simple code. I just have yet to get around to relearning how to do it. So we'll do that. That'll give us our output, and we'll bring our output over here, and we'll just drop it into another tank. And I'm going to put a pipe on the bottom here, but I'm going to break that bottom one. And we need another tank. So let's grab the empty water tank again, and we'll use that. And now we need our wrench again, and we're going to do Shift to change the color. And we are looking for yellow. And we'll click on that side, and click on that side. And that'll give our fluid output. And there we go, that's our uranium hexafluoride. And at that point, we just take this to the next step, which we're going to just do straight here, because we're not going to do a whole tedious thing of moving everything. But we do want to go ahead and grab some more of our wool here. And man, I really kind of want to redo this whole thing over here. Or I think I'll do that between episodes. We'll go ahead and grab the yellow one, and we'll start building the yellow-white facility. Kind of keep our area organized. I think, you know what? I just remembered. We have like this stained clay that might work better. A little late though, I'm going to keep using the wool. I like the brighter color of the wool. It looks just a little nicer. And that's 3 sides on that side, 2 sides on that side. There we go. And our last step is actually pretty easy. We just need to take the fluid out and bring it in to the next machine. And this is going to give us straight that, so we'll just do something like this. Yeah, this will work. We'll do 2 of these machines. I think 2 is all we need, because I don't think these produce... I don't think these will outproduce this one. If they do, we just add another machine on the side here. Actually, you know what? Just for because we aren't going to have this huge amount of stuff, we'll do that, and then we'll grab a belt here, and we'll put it on the side, and we'll bring it together, and we'll take advantage of the new splitter system. So yeah, we'll do one more, and we'll get our curved belt. There we go. And we need the other one. We'll bring these together right here, which means we need another straight belt. And then we'll use the junction. So that should bring our stuff together, and we only need basically 1 pipe at that point. We could actually feed right off the belt there, but I kind of just want to do that. And then we're going to grab... I need a catch, but I can't grab those ones because when you shift-click them, they actually will grab the contents as well. And we'll just drop everything in there. Yeah, this should only produce 1 material. In the future, I think what we'll need is a splitter here to then diverge items off on both sides. But for the moment, this should work. And now we just need... we need robotic arms. This is why planning is useful and winging it is not. So now I have to redo this whole line. Here we go. We'll do that. Grab our robotic arms. And I still have yet to fix that bug. That should have been like the first thing I actually bothered to fix, was the input or the directional system. It's really just feeding off one of my prefabs on how the directional system works, and unfortunately I didn't tell it to stop using the up and down directions. When you aim up, it's actually supposed to set the direction as up, is what it's supposed to do, which is useful when you're doing stuff like working on pipes and stuff, but it's not useful when you're using the robotic arms. So go ahead and do that. You can get actual access to these. Definitely need to do wrench support, because I don't really like using GUIs for everything. The reason we have the GUIs here is that some people do prefer using GUIs, and of course there's a lot more options in here, and there'll be a lot more options in these as well in the future. So this should give us what we need. Now we just need to pull material out into these, and these should start running. And then as soon as that finishes running, look at that, simultaneously they're all running at the same time. Means we just had enough to run the 4 machines. So I may have picked my cards right of doing before, and then this should slowly go forward, and the only thing I think we need to do with this... Actually, it should automatically inject items, I think. Oh, dude, that is so nice. And into the cache it goes. And we'll do shift to lock that. And that's our output product for that, so that's basically at that point we're done. What you would do is, if you wanted to continue with this, is you would put an autocrafter on here, which we might redo. I think we could use the thermal expansion autocrafter, because at the moment I don't have an autocrafter to Simmerline, because it's something on the list, but it's not the most important thing, because the main thing we want to do is just automate the inputs and outputs of machines, and not actually take over the actual autocrafting or the smelting and everything at the moment. That will be something we'll do in the future. But this should work. So the next episode, what we'll do is we're going to either A, work on getting that auto-crafted, or B, start working on the waste processing. But I'll see you in the next episode.